Have you ever disliked a song for most of your life and then you hear it in a different context and suddenly you just feel it in a whole new way with a newfound appreciation? Next up, the story of just such a song from Journey, a band I've always loved, with commentary from co-founder Neal Schon and co-writer Jonathan Cain on how it came together and how I learned to love their biggest charting hit, Open Arms. Hey music junkies, professor of rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. If you love the greatest music of the rock era, you're going to want to subscribe below right now to see our daily content. I mean, this is a true music community, what MTV used to be in the good old days. If you're looking for even more commentary, more videos, more interviews, behind the scenes kind of things, look on Patreon and become a part of this virtual museum. Now, as you know, I love all kinds of music. One day, you'll see me freaking out about the genius of the Smiths and the Cure, and another day, wax poetic about Van Halen or Guns N' Roses. I love Toto and the Clash, Janet Jackson and Prince, Sinatra and Elvis, on and on and on. I've never understood why you have to be trapped in just one genre. It's like eating the same meal over and over. I used to be, in the mid to late 80s, I was crazy about hard rock and heavy metal, and pretended not to still love Billy Joel and Phil Collins. And then in 7th grade, it was new wave or bust, even though I was still secretly buying, the new Bruce Hornsby or Whitney Houston album. A little bit later, I realized that I didn't care. I like what I like, and I don't need to pretend or apologize for it. Music's either good or bad. If I want to listen to Pink Floyd's A Momentary Lapse of Reason and John Denver's Rocky Mountain High back to back, I can do that. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. However, we all have songs or artists that we just don't care for. Even with wide open minds and ears, certain songs or artists just don't resonate with us. Now, when I was growing up, I couldn't stand the Carpenters. Just didn't get it. And now I love them. I don't know what happened. About 5 years ago, I just realized what a unique and just soul-rapturing voice Karen Carpenter's always possessed. Rainy days and Mondays always get me down. Have you ever had that happen? I'd like to hear your experiences in the comments below. I had an experience like this very recently. Now, anybody who watches this channel knows how much I love Journey, one of my favorite bands ever. I mean, I consider Escape to be one of the greatest studio albums of the rock era, a blockbuster where every song is amazing. It's like a greatest hits album. For some reason, though, I've never liked the song Open Arms. It's not something I can really explain. I love a great power ballad as well as the rest of you. And you'd think that a big ballad from one of my favorite bands ever, sung by one of the greatest singers in the history of our universe, would truly resonate with my heart and my soul. But it didn't. It just never pushed my buttons. In fact, I couldn't get through the song. Sometimes for no good reason. I don't know, a song just rubs us wrong. So whenever I would listen to Escape or Journey's greatest hits, I'd automatically skip it. Maybe it was just too perfect, I don't know. Well, recently I was watching season 3 of Cobra Kai with my 2 youngest boys. Oh, Isn't Cobra Kai so amazing? The Karate Kid was one of those movies from the 80s that for anyone from like 5 to 16 in 1984 just took to heart. I mean, I remember seeing it in the theater and going nuts for it. I think the very next day, my mom and dad signed me up for karate after begging and pleading with them that I had to have that. I practiced the crane kick on our trampoline about 100 times a day. When it came out on VHS, me and my friends watched it every day for like months, and we had karate championships on the tramp. It was one of those movies like Back to the Future, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Goonies, the Star Wars trilogy, Top Gun, so many others that we'd watch over 100 times, and we memorized every word, and we're still quoting it to this day. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. So I was watching Cobra Kai season 3 with my kids. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, you might want to fast forward right now about 2 minutes. Because I'm about to tell you about a scene from the last episode of season 3 that, yeah, it was the last episode, that had an impact on me and many other fans of both the song and the show. Speaking of our perspectives changing on songs or artists as we grow, when I was a kid watching Karate Kid, I loved Daniel LaRusso, and I absolutely hated Johnny Lawrence. However, throughout like Cobra Kai, the tables have turned. I'm rooting for a stuck in the 80s, metal-loving, technology-challenged Johnny Lawrence, and right now I'm feeling a bit annoyed by a self-righteous elitist Daniel LaRusso. I don't know. That's another thing the series does so well. They give you insight into all of these beloved characters and their past to help you, understand their values and their motivations. Okay, so in season 3, Allie, played by the gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous Elizabeth Shue, returns. You remember that Allie was in the original film, Johnny's ex-girlfriend becoming Daniel's girlfriend. I don't know about you, but Elizabeth Shue as Allie in The Karate Kid, it's just one of my major 80s crushes. Beautiful. So in season 3 of Cobra Kai, she returns 30 plus years later. So to give those who don't know a little bit of background, Allie is going through a divorce and Johnny is single, Johnny Lawrence, but at the beginning of a possible relationship with someone he cares about deeply. That's where he's at, and Daniel is married. So Johnny and Allie connect for lunch and even go on a date to golf and stuff. It's just a match made in 80s heaven, and there's a moment where they almost kiss. But, it's interrupted by like a phone call. So Allie invites Johnny to a Christmas party at, get this, the same lavish country club where Daniel LaRusso gets food dumped all over him, his white shirt, and Johnny forces a kiss with Allie knowing that Daniel is watching. Country clubs, coming from Idaho, I thought that was just something out of the movies, and later on I found out it was a real thing. But anyway, this time Johnny and Allie are together, and whereas the Star Wars post-trilogy, original trilogy, made the mistake of not putting our favorite characters together, Leia, Han, and Luke, for even a minute, the guys at Cobra Kai, they knock it out of the park because they put Daniel and his wife and Johnny and Allie together for dinner at this country club. And it's an amazing scene. And as the fix has said, one thing leads to another, and there's just some can't miss drama at the dinner table with Johnny and Daniel cutting each other deeper and deeper as the scene goes on. Before the peacemaker, Allie points out that the two of them are much more alike than they would ever admit. She says, and I quote, maybe you recognize parts of yourself in each other and you don't really like what you see. And of course, she's not wrong. They're both good guys. They both want to do the right thing. They want to help kids out and trying to excise the bad guy John Kreese and Cobra Kai for good. Again, it's a great scene because Allie is actually able to help the two of them, Daniel and Johnny, the Macho Man, look at each other in a different light. It's like they find this respect that we haven't seen since Johnny ran up to Daniel at the end of The Karate Kid after getting eliminated from the tournament with a crane kick to the face and handing him the trophy and shouting, "You're all right, LaRusso." I love that scene. How great is it to watch your favorite movie characters come down off of that silver screen and become human? We see growth in real time because of Allie's turn as counselor between Daniel and Johnny. It's a really nice payoff. Anyway, Johnny and Allie walk outside as the evening is coming to a close. And I got to tell you, in my heart, I was just willing the writers of the show to let Johnny and Allie get together. I was feeling this wave of 80s nostalgia, waiting for it to come together, even though in my head, I knew it really couldn't work. Allie asks about, Johnny's new girl and wants to hear about it. And here's what happened.
Well, if she's cool enough to make Johnny Lawrence speechless, you better figure it out quick.
I know. It's like I told you, I always screw these things up.
But that second, my heart just sunk as I got that feeling that I know all so well. That no matter how much we want it, no matter how much we will it, no matter how much we force it or try to even buy it, you can't go home again. I'm realizing at that moment, as much as I love these characters and have become pretty partial to Johnny Lawrence in the 3 seasons of Cobra Kai, he's not getting back together with Allie or Elizabeth Shue. And maybe I was sad because I realized that Elizabeth Shue is probably not coming back to the show again. Or maybe I was hearkening back to 1984, wishing that I could go back there. I mean, we've all felt that, especially through COVID. I don't know, it was like this moment of melancholy as my heart sank and the sound of some familiar notes began to play at that moment.
We had our own little time machine.
Sometimes it's good to visit the past. To know where you
Open Arms. All of a sudden, my heart opened wide and accepted this song that I've denied for decades. Like Ali said, sometimes it's good to visit the past, which is what we do on this channel for like 15 minutes or more a day, every day. But what she says next is crucial for all of us to realize in our lives. You can visit the past to know where you are now, but you can't live in the past, which is just another way of saying that you can't go home again, like I said. We have to live for today. And as I watch the rest of the scene as they fall into a heartfelt embrace, and as Steve Perry's perfect voice sings the first few words of the song, Lying Beside You Here in the Dark. Lying beside you. We watched the goodbye scene to this song, and magically, I just felt deeply in love with this ballad, as if I had never heard it. It was the perfect choice by the director or the music supervisor or whoever made the call. As Ali says, I will always be there for you. And then Johnny says, me too, and then turns away, motivated to go capture his future. And the chorus of Open Arms just swells with such emotion and power that I actually feel a tear at that moment. I felt it. And I finally get it. How could I have denied this song for so long? It's just moving as the song wraps up on a phenomenal scene. The thought comes to me, with apologies to Robert Plant, Freddie Mercury, Ann Wilson, Brad Delp, and a few others, Steve Perry's the GOAT, man. He is number one on my list, and there's no taking it back. When you consider just the voice, it's gotta be Steve Perry. And Open Arms is one of the perfect songs that demonstrate his otherworldly power and his flawless control. The dynamic of his range, the highs and the lows. The change of volume, louds and softs, and how he effectively envelops a listener's heart and soul is laid bare in like a little over 3 minutes. And then Jonathan Cain's keyboard making the piano just makes the song flutter along with Neal Schon's heart-wrenching guitar tone. It cuts you to the bone, and it reminds you why Journey has truly become one of America's most beloved bands of all time. It's undeniable. The song was actually Journey's highest charting hit. It went all the way to number 2, where it held tight for 6 weeks behind Jay Giles' band Centerfold and Joan Jett's I Love Rock and Roll. It was number 1 on the Cashbox charts, but Journey never did have a number 1 hit on the Hot 100, which is almost impossible to believe. Open Arms is also one of Journey's most covered songs. Those who have covered it include Mariah Carey, who took it to number 4 on the UK charts. There was also Celine Dion, Boyz II Men, Britney Spears, Barry Manilow, just to name a few. Of course, none of them come within 1,000 miles of Steve Perry and Journey's sublime original. In 2005, Steve Perry said in an interview about producing the Live in Houston Escape Tour concert, 24 years later, he said this, and I quote, "I had to keep my head down on the console when Open Arms was on. There is one line in the song that I always wanted to be a certain way. I have ideals about certain things. The line, wanting you near, I just wanted that line to go up and soar. I wanted it to be heartfelt. Every time it would come by, I would just have to keep my head down and try to swallow the lump in my throat. I felt so proud of the song." End of quote. Well, Mr. Perry, who is the king of the rock voice in my book, I owe you an apology. Open Arms is a masterpiece of the rock arena, and I'm sorry it took me so many years to realize that. I had the opportunity to interview both Jonathan Cain, who co-wrote the song with Steve, and co-founder of the band and guitarist Neal Schon, who's just always a crack-up, who, like me, wasn't a fan of the song at first. in which you'll hear a funny story he relates next. Anyway, so here's the story of Open Arms from Neal Schon and Jonathan Cain. And as we go into this interview, I want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. They're the glasses I rock daily. Go get yourself a new pair of glasses, blue blocks or sunglasses at zenni.com. You can actually do a virtual try-on, a 3D try-on on there before you buy. Here's the interview.
And so how I got to the journey was, playing these gigs. We had a tour with them, the Departure Tour in 1979, I think. And they liked our Union Jacks album. Mm-hmm. So they said, we love that album you made and we want you on tour. So, little did I know that Greg was going to retire, and they were watching me. And they knew we were kind of at the end of our rope with Chrysalis and our record situation. John wanted to go back solo. And so they just kind of recruited me, and they found out that John, he told them flat out that he was going to, ditch the band before I even knew it. So, John was on the way out, and so I got the phone call the next summer, and I was to go up and make this album. Come, I think it was February we started in 1980. In Berkeley. So I found myself, in a moving truck going up to San Francisco with my wife and my German Shepherd. The city I always wanted to be in. I was just adored San Francisco, and making this album with a band I hadn't played a note with.
Yeah,
we'd never played a song together, and I'm in the studio writing the Escape album. So it was pretty surreal.
One of the biggest blockbuster albums of the day. In fact,
and we have no film of it. And no pictures of it.
This is crazy.
And our manager was a video guy.
Yeah.
Hello. I mean, can you imagine if we had film on that?
We had a video game on you guys around the time.
But nobody bothered to take any pictures or video.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, it's all, it's in my mind.
Because it set the stage for all those blockbusters that came out.
Well, it was funny. When I met Steve and Neal and everything, and Ross and Steve, I was instantly welcomed, and given so much of a voice, We want to change our sound, and we'd love for you to help us. Like that little old me, guy from Chicago. Sure, I got some ideas because I watched the band every night. I found myself, when I was opening up for the Babies, sticking around and going, hey, I want to see what Journey does tonight. And so I'd watch him every night and see crowd reactions. So when I got to actually write and create in the band, I had an advantage of being part of the audience. So I got to sit in the seats and watch that. And I said, I think we're missing this, and this, So they were very interested, and, lyrically, Steve was interested in how we were going to shift things. And I said, it's pretty simple, we're going to add a little this, a little that. And I saw it, and then Neal had all these ideas that weren't quite getting filtered over to Steve. So I just became this big glue part, And I took Steve and Neal and I put some glue and we just like that. And I said, I like this idea. Steve wanted to sing a ballad. I said, I have this song called Open Arms. What do you think? Help me finish it.
John Waite didn't want to do it. He's like, this is a little too...
Yeah, schmaltzy, But he knew. See, the thing that cut out in VH1 about the John Waite thing was I did say that great singers have great instinct as to what they can deliver.
Right.
And Steve Perry's voice and John Waite's voice are very different. Very different.
Yes.
They're both very soulful guys, but John's more of a phrase singer. Steve's more of a crooner. He's more of a legato. He can sing notes, for 8 seconds, 9 seconds. And John knew, and Steve knew, that was the right song. Now, I wouldn't show Midnight Rendezvous to Steve Perry. You know what I mean? I got Midnight Rendezvous. He's looking at me like, no, that's not funny.
Yeah.
So I quickly, I was fortunate to work with two really great creators and pretty good band leaders. I mean, John was a great band leader. He had a great instinct for what the band needed to be, where we needed to be, and so did Steve. Mm-hmm. So I went from one great leader to another great leader, one great band to another great band. Unfortunately, for the Babies, there was the debt. Poor management led to the demise. If they had been managed differently, the band might be still around.
Well, the thing that was so great about the chemistry that the three of you had with Neal and you and Steve is that you had those distinct voice, the incredible guitar sound, and then your piano that glued it all together.
Exactly.
And it just, like songs like not only Open Arms, but Who's Crying Now?
Still They Ride.
And then you come in with Open Arms. What were your thoughts on Open Arms? Were you like, oh, I don't know about this, man? It's a phenomenal song, and it's another standard, but tell me about that.
It is exactly that. I didn't know what to think of it. I mean, we had Escape done, and that song, it came in, and we played it, and we did the arrangement that John had. And it was really like no guitar, and I'm like, well, why am I doing this? You know? So it was a turning point, you know. And frankly, I didn't hear the song. I didn't get it. And I didn't want to play it live, you know. Yeah. Perry loves the story. He loves to tell this story because I was wrong. And so the joke goes like after that, like, okay, so that's our first #1 single, right? I believe so. The joke went after that. Whatever song Neal doesn't like, that'll be our hit single. And so, you know, but I remember we were out on tour and we're like, you know, sold out everywhere, an Escape tour, and we never played the song live. And Steve goes, I want to play that song tonight. And John, they both wanted to play it because they both, you know, wrote it, or John wrote it with him. And I was, really? Where are we going to put that thing? You know? And so we stuck it in the set, and the place came unglued. And I went like, because I knew I'd have to hear the end. I would never hear the end of it, you know?
You walked off the stage after, and you were like, that was awesome. And isn't how Steve Perry tells
I was surprised.
I'm gonna kill you.
I thought it was really not going to go down well with our audience because it was so different than anything we'd ever done before. And they loved it. And so I was just like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
Yeah.
The place came unglued. I was like, that's awesome. I was wrong. What do you want me to say?
Thank you so much for watching. Share a song or an artist that you previously didn't care for that you now love, and your thoughts on this amazing band journey, Steve Perry, and this song in the comments below. If you like our content, we do invite you to subscribe to our channel. If you want to get Escape or other Journey merch or albums, click on our Amazon links below. To see more videos and interviews, check us out on Patreon. Help us keep the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth. Go watch Cobra Kai. See ya.